So, welcome once again to the Going Solo podcast, the weekly podcast for solopreneurs who want to make life and business work for them and not the other way around. As always, I am still Knight Dutkewich. I am a corporate dropout turned business coach and someone who learned the extremely hard way what it actually takes to run a solo business. Each week, I'm breaking down the real strategies, the mindset shifts, and yes, just a little bit of woo-woo to help you build a profitable business on your own terms, because it is not the market. It is not your toxic ex-boss. It is what's going on between your two ears. So today, we are tackling one of the biggest struggles that solopreneurs face, and that is niching, or if you're in the US, niching. For the rest of the world, niching. If you aren't making enough money in your solo business, there is a good chance that it isn't you. You are not the problem, my friends. Your niche probably is. So most solopreneurs struggle with their niche, and most solo entrepreneurs fail because of their niche. And I had quite a few messages after last week's podcast saying quite how scary some of the stats were about solopreneurs failing. And yes, they are scary, and you don't need to be scared, because when you know the pitfalls other people make, we can make sure you don't fall into the same one. So you are not on your own. You have me, you have this podcast. Okay. So I'm going to be here every week to not only help you survive as a solo entrepreneur, but to thrive with some passion, some compassion, some humour, and just a soupçon of style. So first of all, I cannot think about niches and niching without thinking of, you guessed it, Kevin Costner. Yes, you heard that right. When I think about niches, all I think about is Kevin Costner. And just bear with me, because I am going somewhere with this. So Kevin has a lot to answer for. And I'm not just talking about the abomination that was his American accent in Robin Hood. Come on, Kevin. Or that fever dream that was Waterworld. No. I'm talking about Kevin's biggest crime to humanity, which was the baseball classic movie, Field of Dreams. Now you know the line I'm thinking of. Don't pretend you're not old enough to remember. The line I'm referring to is, if you build it, they will come. If you build it, they will come. So many of us, particularly those of us that are in our 40s, grew up watching that movie and kind of went into solopreneurship thinking that if it worked for Kevin's baseball fields, it would work for our own business. Kevin, you let us down. It's not true, because here's the thing. If you build it, they will come is a lie. It's probably a lie in baseball. I don't know nothing about baseball. It's definitely a lie in solo businesses. So most solopreneurs struggle to get clients because they believe this myth that if I'm good at what I do, and if I hang a shingle on my online door, clients will be drawn to me and magically appear. They literally will wait for clients to land in their inbox and be knocking down their door. It doesn't happen. It never happens. And it's really, really important, because when you're a solopreneur, and particularly when you're a coach and consultant, clients don't buy coaching, clients don't buy consulting, clients buy the coach or the consultant. So what they're really paying for is a relationship with you. And so just appearing and saying this is what I do isn't enough. You have got to show up as an expert and as somebody that gets paid well for solving painful problems. And if it's not really, really crystal clear on what you solve and for whom, you are making it 100 times harder to make money, making money as a solopreneur is simple. I believe it's simple. It is not easy. Okay, so you're making it harder for yourself through your niche. So by the end of this episode today, it's the last time I'm going to mention Kevin Costner, you will know exactly how to carve out a niche that makes attracting clients easier. Okay, right. So I just want to start with the kind of the bare chaps first of all. So the biggest mistakes solopreneurs, particularly coaches and consultants, make with niches. So there's kind of 5 of them. So the first thing they do is they are far too broad. They're too nebulous, too vague, too broad. And I get this. I was brought up by my very well-meaning parents to kind of keep my options open. They didn't like, so I took far too many exams, did far too many courses, and kind of was really reluctant to specialise. And I think a lot of it is due to fear, because we think if we go too narrow, we're going to limit our potential. And so in niching, we think that if we appeal to a wide audience, we'll attract more clients. The opposite is true. So if you were to think about your favourite restaurant, or a meal that kind of you really sticks in your mind, I can guarantee, I would put money on this, it probably wasn't TGI Fridays or Chili's or Boston Pizza. It probably wasn't a place that does every different type of food, everything from nachos to, seafood subs, butter bowls and steak. Pure chaos. Now, if you think about your actual favourite restaurant or that best meal you've ever eaten out, I bet money it was a speciality spot. It was probably kind of a little hole-in-the-wall Thai place that is known for this amazing, green chicken curry. It was maybe this Greek taverna with the best moussaka. They will be known for one thing. And kind of people get that as a concept when I talk about restaurants. We tend to lose the ability to extrapolate that into our business as soon as it comes to our niche. So I see all the time that when I ask potential clients what they do, they'll tell me things like, I help people feel empowered. I help people to thrive. Super. You know who else helps people to thrive and be empowered? Oprah. Oprah Winfrey. So she has got that market pretty well sewn up. So Oprah can get away with vague, nebulous, kind of Super Soul Sunday messaging because she's Oprah. She has billions of dollars and global name recognition. You, my friend, probably don't. And I love Oprah, don't get me wrong, big Oprah fan. So the second you find yourself describing what you do, and that sounds like a motivational poster in the dentist or the cover of O magazine, it is too vague. People need to understand immediately what you do and who you do it for. If, when you are telling people what you do, they have to ask you, what does that mean? You've lost them. Okay, you've lost them. What is it you do? So my answer, and I used to be really bad at this, so I used to help people, and I made a good living, but I used to help people leverage their introvert advantage. Okay, most people didn't know what that meant. And I would never just be able to say, I help people leverage their introvert advantage. I would also have to always have to explain it for the next 2 minutes. Okay, so I made decent money a month, maybe about 15,000 in coaching. When I moved to, I help introvert solopreneurs to consistently hit 10k months. There are no follow-up questions. Nobody's, apart from, can you help me? I know a friend. Nobody has to ask me, what does that mean? Really, really clear. I help solopreneurs to hit consistent 10k months. Job done. Okay. So you've got to be really, really clear. So the second thing I see with niches is, and I blame Simon Sinek a little bit for this, is choosing a niche based on purpose or passion and not profitability. Now, if you are in a position where you don't have to worry about money and you can follow your why and you can create a business based on your passion, super. Genuinely pleased for you. Most of us aren't. So what I see, and it's great if you love, I don't know, journaling by candlelight. Very Jane Austen-y. And I get that kind of that journaling has changed your life. But will people actually pay you to teach them to journal? Or can they just get a notebook and a scented candle from Target? So you've got to really make sure of kind of what's your part in this and what are people going to pay you for. Now, your niche needs to be something people are willing to invest in, not something you love doing. Now, before my journaling coaches come for me, I love you. I love journaling. I love Jane Austen. I love a good candle. I am talking about, can you sell journaling coaching? Absolutely. Yes, you can. Is it easy to scale and make enough high ticket sales in journaling coaching and turn it into a 6-figure business? Probably not. Okay. So don't come for me. So the third mistake I see is people, and I used to do this all the time, people pick a niche that's about us and not the customer. So this is a really big one. People buy the coach and not the coaching. Nobody cares about your coaching certificates. Okay, one more time. Nobody cares about your coaching certificates. They care that you can get the results. So one of the flags I see, the red flags I see in new coaches, and I see a lot of this in kind of conversations with me, is they'll say, this sounds great, and I'm just going to wait until I finish my ICF, the International Coaching Federation accreditation, before I start charging money. Or I'm just going to wait until I finished my ICF, which can take years for some people, until I kind of feel confident as a coach. And you can quote me on this. Your ICF certificate is not going to make you money. Nobody cares about the certificates. They care about results and how you fix their problems. So if your niche is all about a story and not about solving a specific problem for a specific group of people, then making it harder for clients to see why they should hire you. Okay? Mistake number 4 is, this is a really big thing. People think their niche should be focused. This is very corporate thinking. People think their niche should be focused on their skills as opposed to the problems they know how to solve. So your niche isn't about just your skills. I can do a lot of things. I'm double jointed. I've never lost a game of Twister. People never see it coming because the fat bird's really good at Twister. Our skills aren't the only reason we should choose our niche. So if you're only listing what, kind of very corporate to think of your skills, what you really want to do is think about what is the real problems that you know how to solve for a specific group of people. So that's really, really important. Don't focus so much on your skills, focus on your ability to solve problems. Okay, and that's a bit different. Okay, and the last one I see this all the time, is people change their niche too frequently. Commitment issues, anybody? So when you are constantly switching your niche, it is impossible to build momentum. So pick a niche, stick with it long enough to see results. If you're not seeing results in your niche, don't change your niche, make it narrower, double down. Okay, so those kind of the 5 reasons, that the 5 biggest problems I see with people's niches. They're too broad, they pick it based on passion, not profitability. They make it all about them and not the clients. They focus on what they think they should do, not the problems they've already know how to solve, and then they change too quickly. Okay, so we're not going to do any of that. So the secret to picking a profitable niche isn't in some sort of fancy business plan. It's actually in the notion of persuasion. So persuasion is an art, is it a science? Probably a bit of both. Goes back over 2,000 years to Aristotle. You might have heard it called rhetoric, Aristotle's rhetoric, the 3 pillars of persuasion. It's all just as relevant today as it was back there. And rhetoric, I'll call it rhetoric. Rhetoric talks about the fact that to get somebody to do something, to get somebody to think something, to feel something, to take some kind of action, we need 3 things at all times. And so from our point of view, we're trying to get people to sign up with us as clients, as coaches. So in order to get paying clients, we need to always have 3 things in place in order for the client to be persuaded enough to work with us. So the first thing we need is we need a message that makes sense from the client's point of view, not ours. So we have to have a logic that makes sense from the client's point of view. The second thing we need is an emotional connection. Human beings are feeling creatures who happen to think. We are not thinking creatures who happen to feel. It's a really important distinction. Every single thing a human being does is fueled by an emotion, a vibration in the body. So that emotional connection is really important, probably the most important of the 3. Clients need to see themselves in you and your journey. We all suspect that we are the only one feeling like this. It's a common human experience. We all secretly suspect there's something wrong with us and life isn't going to work out for us. When you are able to help somebody in pain feel like they are not alone, they are not an alien or a pariah for having these emotions, that this is normal, it's a shared experience, and that there is hope to get over this to the other side, that is incredibly powerful. So emotional connection. And last but not least, credibility. And if you did Aristotle's rhetoric at school, logos, pathos and ethos, they would sound like, what's the word? Musketeers to me. So credibility, they have to trust that you know how to solve their problem. So most coaches and consultants and humans and solopreneurs and senior leaders, they think that credibility is the answer to everything. So they think that if they can put themselves in a position of authority and credibility, people are going to buy into what they're saying. Doesn't work like that. And you see this all the time, and this is why people want to get another certificate before they feel ready. It's because they think that the certificate's going to make them credible. Okay? They think that that qualification to have ICF behind your names is going to get you taken seriously. No. You cannot credential your way to trust. So if you're listening to this, and you're thinking about dropping, I don't know, $5,000 on another certification or even an MBA, like just stop. An MBA, an ICF certificate, a coaching certificate won't make people trust you. It won't make you trust yourself. It won't make you more credible. It won't make you feel ready. That's not the problem. Instead of spending that money, invest in learning how to market and sell what you already know how to solve. Okay? So, and if you need help with that, I know somebody. She's very, very good. She's very, very good. Okay, so what we want to do is to pick a niche. We want to pick a problem that you already know how to solve. So your niche shouldn't be random. Shouldn't be random. So I even had this conversation with a couple of new clients this morning saying, I need to look for my niche. You don't need to look for your niche. You need to look inwards for your niche. Your niche is you. The best way to make money as a coach and consultant is a problem you have faced and kept you awake at night and gave you massive pain in your own life and business in the last 3 to 5 years that you solved and got to the other side. And this is really, really important, because when our niche becomes who we were 3 to 5 years ago when we had a massive problem, and you have to have fixed it, by the way, you can't still be in that problem. You have to have fixed it and got other people to the other side. What that does is it gives us that credibility, the emotional connection, and the logic of the message. So credibility. When we're talking to who we were 3 to 5 years ago, we've been there. We've done that. We've got the results to prove it. Okay. Logic. You don't have to kind of leave your messaging down to ChatGPT or Gemini. You understand your client's struggles and you can articulate them because you've lived them in recent history. An emotional connection, the most important thing, is your story makes you relatable and inspiring. It is no mystery why I constantly share my story of having started, I think this is my 4th business, running a very successful business now, starting a successful business, doing really well, losing it all to COVID, getting in 6 figures worth of debt as the sole bread earner, somebody with very young children, a husband who wasn't very well, starting another business that kind of really failed, and then another one that was like, and then finally cracking it. So there's a reason I talk about that, because I know that other people are out there feeling the same way. They're as scared as I was when I couldn't pay the mortgage. Their confidence has taken a hit like my confidence took when my niche didn't take off. So my story and your story makes you relatable and inspiring. And the biggest reason that sharing our stories help is because when we show up as human, as a mother of 47-year-old mother of 3 who's got too much dry shampoo in her hair, other people can see themselves in me and have more confidence that if I can do it, they could also do it too. So by showing up as all of yourself, it really helps other people to increase their confidence that they could make that change too. Okay. So when you focus on a problem that you've solved recently versus something you did 20 years ago, your insights are fresh, they are actionable, and they're relevant to today's challenges. So when you are thinking about your niche, I want you to grab a pen. I want you to think back to where you were 3 to 5 years ago. What stage were you at in your career or business? How were your finances looking? How was your relationship? What was going on for you? What were the problems that you were facing that you didn't know how to fix? What was keeping you awake in the middle of the night? So I sleep really well generally, but when I'm stressed, and I'm not particularly stressed these days, it tends to wake me up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and then I can't get back to sleep, and I end up getting up for the day, and then I'm very grumpy because I need my sleep. So think about, what was it 3 to 5 years ago that was getting you up at 3 o'clock in the morning and then you couldn't go back to sleep? Okay. And then I want you to think about, are other people in that same place today? Is there a group of people who are still where you were 3 to 5 years ago? So 5 years ago, I couldn't pay my mortgage because my monthly expenses were about $12,000 and I was only bringing in about $4,000. So I was going into the whole $8,000 every month. That stacks up pretty quickly. So Are there other people in that kind of massive pain? Do they have purchasing power? So back then when I worked with a coach, I didn't have a lot of purchasing power because I was really going into debts, but I had a credit card. So I worked with a coach years and years ago who kind of helped me get back onto my second business. You want to make sure there are enough of them. Is there a demand? Are there at least 200,000 people struggling with this? Probably. Is their market growing? Where are they? Where do they hang out? Where don't they hang out? Where aren't you going to find them? And the most important question for me is, do you actually want to work with them? So if that group of people in that same pain, if the thought of working and helping them fills every cell of your body with dread, don't do it. So you really want to be clear on, do you want to work with those people? Okay. And then you really want to focus on the problems that you know how to solve. So thinking 3 to 5 years ago, what problems did you have that you were struggling that you now know how to fix? Now this is really important. If you've been awake for the past 3 years for the same problem, so for example, I see all the time coaches advertising that they can help get clients to $100,000 a year, and when I start talking to them, they've never made $100,000 as an entrepreneur yet. Like, you need to pick another subject. You shouldn't be advertising that you can help people get to $100,000 if you haven't first of all done it for yourself in your own business and then helped some other people. So what is a problem that you have overcome that you know how to fix? And then you want to be really clear on what were the outcomes. So what were the outcomes this created in your life or your career or your business? You know, can you measure the impact? Was it money? Is it status? Was it relationships? Those are things that people pay for. So you want to be really, really specific and not be vague about your niche, because a vague niche just keeps you stuck in obscurity. So some examples of vague niches I see all over LinkedIn. So helping people to improve their mindset. Mindset coaches, vague niche. Nobody is lying awake at night thinking, if only I could improve my mindset. They're not. The other thing I see is people try and get more specific, and they will say things like supporting women to be their best selves. Nobody knows what that means. What's best self? What's best self for me might look very different to best self for you. They're not getting up in the middle of the night because they don't feel like their best selves. The one I see the most is coaching professionals to achieve success. Like, what does that mean? Don't know what it means. Okay, you sound like a really bad TGI Fridays menu that like keeps folding out. No. So when there is no clear audience, no specific problem, no measurable outcome, you will get lost in the noise. So a specific niche is going to set you apart and make attraction and eventually selling much easier. So for examples of a specific niche, they could be, helping new real estate agents close their first 10 deals in 90 days. So who we're speaking to, we're speaking to real estate agents. We're not just speaking to real estate agents, we're speaking to new real estate agents, because they will have very different experiences. Their emotional connection will be different. We're helping them to close their first 10 deals. This isn't people that have already closed, 50 clients a year. This is like the first 10. And we're going to do that in a really short space of time. People will pay to solve massive pain. They will pay a premium to solve it quickly and with as little pain to them as possible. Okay? Really, really attractive to put some time constraints around it. And you better know how to bring it. Okay. Another specific niche could be, supporting tech founders to overcome burnouts and increased productivity by 40% in 3 months. So very, very, very specific. So I see lots and lots of burnout coaches, burnout who aren't making a lot of money. Because even though burnout is a common human experience, people aren't going to pay for that. They are going to pay for the transformation at the end. You're going to help you with your burnout so that you can do what? What is it that you want to get to the other side of burnout? Okay, so you're going to get really, really specific. Okay, so when you're thinking about niching, you really want to make sure that you are, if you can, speak to the reasons that the problems people pay to solve. People pay to solve problems around improving their wealth, increasing their wealth, increasing their status. Now that could be sort of hierarchically in an organisation through a promotion. It could be about selling more. It could be about how they feel about themselves. It could be about how much kind of they can lift in the gym. And the third, so health, wealth and status. So the third one is health. Those are the three things that people will pay for. So the more you can put those into your offer, or at least one of them, that's when you'll help people. So for example, coaching single mums to launch side hustles that generate $2,000 a month in 6 months. Like really, really specific. Really, really specific. So when you're writing your niche statement, you really need to make sure you know who you help, the problems you help overcome, a little hint at how you do it, and then the result, the transformation. People want the results. People don't pay for coaching. People pay for the transformation of the results. Okay. All right. So if you are feeling a little called out by anything I've said, don't beat yourselves up. What it means is you are in the arena. You are showing up, you are trying, you are running a solo business. Nothing brings you face to face with all of yourself more than running a solo business. So when you are rejected and feeling frustrated and doubting yourself and going back and doing it anyway, that is a goal cost of solopreneur success, and that is what's going to differentiate between those who make it as solopreneurs and those that don't. Okay, so if this episode helped, be sure to follow the podcast. If you're on Spotify or Apple, I would love a review. It helps more people to find the show. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the like and subscribe. Until next time, be well and give yourself a big pat on the back. All right, take care.